live from the Bayside Bunker. It's another edition of Bettin and Boozin here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Roscoe, and we're going back home, as what we say, as we're going back to South Florida for another episode on the Gulfstream Park Championship meet. This is the late PICK5 with the Gulfstream Park Sprint Stakes. Welcome in, everyone. Thank you guys all so much for joining the show. I greatly appreciate it. If you guys are enjoying the show tonight and you aren't subscribed yet, why not? You're already coming back for these podcasts anyway. Please go down below the video player, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, because not only is it completely free to do and the best way to help out our channel, but also push these podcasts and others on our channel into YouTube's algorithm to hopefully bring more horse players to the HHH Racing Podcast. And of course, for that, we thank you. As always, our normal schedule every single week is scrolling on the bottom of the screen right now. Every single Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, we have our West Coast show, Pacific Horseplayers, hosted by Noah, co-hosted by Ryan Anderson and Jackson Muniz. Of course, Wednesday, every single Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern with Bettin and Boozin, myself, Patrick, and Andrew. And of course, every Thursday is Picks and Ponies, hosted by Howard Kravitz, co-hosted by Pete Visco and Paul Halloran. They are covering a really nice card at Turfway Park for their first Derby prep day of that meet. So lots of good things to come up. And of course, coming up in the next couple weekends, we have Fountain of Youth Day coming up. We have Tampa Bay Derby Day. Lots and lots of big racing coming up on the Derby Trail. So again, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on those episodes. You can also listen to all those episodes in audio form, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. Please go rate, review, and subscribe over there if you're interested in that. We have short form content over on TikTok and Instagram at Bettin and Boozin Podcast. We have fantastic sponsored shows from our friends all over the United States to help us bring you guys these podcasts. We, of course, have the leaderboard sponsored by our good friends over at Twinspires, who also host our graciously sponsor Bettin and Boozin. That's called the leaderboard every Wednesday before this show at 7 p.m. Eastern. It talks about Twinspires and their fantastic contest circuit that they have out there. Whether you're a brand new to contest play or a seasoned veteran, you're not going to want to miss this, as it goes back to last weekend's contest, brings up the leader, how they won, exactly what their plays were. And of course, we have fantastic contest players on that show, headed by Matt Miller, of course, very seasoned contest veteran and 2021 Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge champion. We also have Howard Kravitz on there. Noah and Jackson as well also make appearances, and they're doing really well over on the Twinspires circuit right now. So lots of good things to listen to them from as well. And thank you, Twinspires, for sponsoring that show. Of course, Wire to Wire for our good friends over at First Racing in Santa Anita, covering the Coast to Coast PICK5 every single Saturday. That goes live Wednesday, or every single Thursday night, and again, talks to coast every week. You also have a recorded show periodically called the Triple Crown Trail, brought to you by our good friends over at Adelphi Racing Club. They talk Adelphi horses, but they also bring up the emerging horses over on the trail to the Kentucky Derby, and of course the Triple Crown Trail. So please give that a listen. Again, that's all done recording wise, so make sure you hit subscribe and that notification bell so you never miss an episode of that. We also, of course, have our brilliant Power Picks over on patreon.com/HHH Racing Podcast. That's our tip sheet that gets sent out to you every single Saturday. And whether you are, again, a seasoned veteran, a brand new player, tons of great information comes to you. It's at least 8 pages every single Saturday, 2 full tracks of price play, spot plays, PICK5 grids, everything you need to be successful on any given Saturday. We here at the HHH Racing Podcast have you covered with the Power Picks. And you can also see previous editions of those Power Picks before you buy them over on our website, hhhracingpodcast.com. Guys, let's get right into it today. We will not waste too much time as I usually like to do. I won't even bring that on the other co-hosts, but we'll get right into it here from the East Coast of New Jersey. It's Patrick Kuenzel, of course, and from the Philadelphia area, Andrew Rdesinski. The full band is back together tonight. Obviously, always good to see. But gentlemen, Pat, how we doing? Obviously, we missed you last week, but we're glad to have you back on here.
Yeah, glad to see you guys. Hope you had a good week. Feels like we turn over to the new week pretty quickly, so it's always nice to see you guys.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew, obviously working hard, as I know you always are, but again, playing parks during the week, so this doesn't it's just another addition to your horse racing throughout the week.
Yeah, I like to degen, whatnot, but yeah, parks is always fun. Always a good time.
always, it's always
That picture, Andrew, that you took, I don't know if it's underneath like the clubhouse or something, but that illustrates exactly what I envisioned of Parks.
Yeah, good old cold weather, good old it's like Siberia over there,
Yeah.
dark and gloomy.
I totally can relate to that. Let me tell you. Terry Frank, my mom, of course, is here, guys. If you guys are here and you want to comment something in the live chat, of course, please handicap along with us. I don't know if, however, many of you have actually looked at these races yet. But please, if you have any questions, comments, or anything about the races, put them in the live chat on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. But first, of course, cheers everyone out there. Let's crack open a beer and let's get going. I see it's nectar of the gods right there. That's what I like to see. The late pick 5 starts in race number 8. It's a maiden special weight, 84,000. Going long. It's going a mile and an eighth for 3-year-old maidens. Obviously, really fun to see these maidens run this type of distance, which you don't really see too much, especially down at Gulfstream Park. Draws a field of 7 as it's Gulfstream during the week, guys. Of course, we do not have morning lines or numbers in the program. It's going to be shared by one of the outside horses, either the 5 Fancy Gentleman, who I would say is most likely your morning line favorite for Gaffleon and Danny Gargan, the 6 Ovechkin, obviously fantastic name, Junior Alvarado from Mark Hennig, and Autobahn, Irad, and Brad Cox to the outside. I'm bringing up our picks on the screen right now to kick off the late pick 5. And look at you two lockstep. How about that? But we all are going with the 5 Fancy Gentleman. However, you two have Infinite Light in third, which is one of the Pletchers, probably the main Pletcher, I would say, followed by Autobahn in third. I have basically the same exact thing, except I switched out Infinite Light for Ovechkin. Pat, I'll let you talk first. Andrew, again, feel free to hit on anything. You guys have the exact same picks. And obviously, we have the exact same ones on top. Pat, what did you like most about the number 5 Fancy Gentleman?
Yeah, Fancy Gentleman last out in that maiden special weight back in the beginning of January. Just ran a strong race visually, faced a tough foe in there and Thunderously for Bill Martin Jr., who we obviously got some bad news about being off the Derby trail. That horse was ultra impressive, kind of just gobbling up that field. But I really like the way Fancy Gentleman stayed on with it in top of the lane. Obviously, kind of yielded to Thunderously, who just had that great kick late. But I do believe that this horse is going to be able to take another step forward in here. Was not, obviously wasn't bet too much in that race, but there was some pretty high end horses in there. And listen, obviously Thunderously took charge in the stretch, but as you can see, Fancy Gentleman, just stay on for the most part in here, and distance shouldn't be a problem, right, guys? So I'm hoping that this Authentic can stick with it and take another step forward in a race that is not facing Thunderously.
Yeah, I mean, in that race, obviously, probably got a little tired. He did all the dirty work. Thunderously blew past him, but by far the best of the rest, obviously, Andrew. And if there is no Thunderously's in here, Fancy Gentleman is probably your most likely winner in this race.
Yeah, and I mean, you also have the added in fact that this one's probably not going to have that much pace pressure against him that day. And you get Gaffleon and Gargan in spots like these, and they usually win. So, I mean, this horse is coming off of 80 buyer. That probably should, be the one to beat in this field.
Yeah, obviously, which we all agree with. We all have the horse on top. I'll go to you guys first, and then I'll talk. Infinite Light ran last time. Actually, it was the first time out at Tampa for Todd, which you don't see too much. But Tap It, Medagliadoro, obviously the breeding screams talent in here. Lost by 7 lengths. The memes on your screen right now. I'm trying not to look at it too hard. But working well at Palm Beach Downs, Pat. Again, looks to be all the talent in terms of breeding. But that first start at Tampa doesn't spark a whole lot of confidence. But again, 59, second time out, most likely take a step forward and can at least sneak into your exact air trifecta.
Yeah, watching the replay, Kyle, this horse just concentration was not there. Was not all in it. Obviously, they're going to put the blinkers on, which is needed, I believe. Did kind of have some, times around the track where he seemed to be a little more engaged. But in the end, just didn't have it in the stretch. So I'm really hoping takes another step forward with a couple works in there, four good works in. This horse should appreciate the distance, but I would believe is coming from out of it, which I wanted to put this horse on top because I think you're going to get third choice. But I just can't trust this horse yet, not really knowing what kind of pace he would like to run into.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I'm not too sure about the pace scenario. Obviously, Andrew, you also have Infinite Light in there. Really good on the work tab, but again, started Tampa is not too inspiring of confidence, but does get Johnny V aboard. So obviously, there's a little bit of intent here.
Yeah, I mean that's the main reason I put this horse in the second spot is because after that kind of poor, confusing outing on the in the debut at Tampa, they add blinkers and the horse starts working out really well too. So I'm assuming that this horse is working with blinkers, because even the workout tabs kind of switch after that race. And then you add in Johnny V, who's Todd Pletcher's #1 for the last 20 years. I think this horse has all the intent to improve second time out.
Yeah, and I agree. Maybe I just completely overlooked this horse because Ovechkin, even though he's kind of ran second off the layoff or first off the layoff last time, did run on turf, still ran a nice number. Not really sure who he faced in that race, but another big field. No one's come back to run yet out of that race. But Junior Alvarado hops on for Mark Hennig, something you don't see all too often. So, and working out really, really well on the Gulfstream Park dirt. So, interested to see where this horse comes out of. Also gets blinkers on for the first time. And even though Mark Hennig, small sample size, still has a really nice ROI with that in $3.44 over the past year. Nyquist, of course, Fort Larned. Distance should be absolutely no problem for this horse. And you can see the last race, even though backed up a little bit, still stayed on really well. Maybe turf's not what this horse wants. Mark Hennig just wanted to get one in him. And maybe that's just the spot he had to run in. Now dirt, most likely his preferred surface. I think he can at least sneak in to your top three. And then Audubon, guys, we all have this horse somewhere. I mean, Irad hops aboard, so there's obviously something. This is a homebred for Windstar. Take Charge Paula. Obviously, I know you guys will probably touch on this as well. Fantastic horse in her own right, and lots of nice progeny to go along with it. Of course, headed by Long Neck Paula, the Wesley Ward trainee, who was multiple stakes winner and multiple stakes placed as well. So breeding's there, Pat, just hasn't really shown it on the track yet.
No, has not. And that's kind of my concern here. Usually you'd like to see some sort of improvement. The works maybe show a little something, but he's just been no factor, guys. And I need to see it to believe it. Gets an outside draw. Obviously, like you said, does pick up Irad in here. But Kyle, I mean, I know you hit on like the distance thing. Do we really believe this horse is going to want the 2 turns?
I mean, Andrew, obviously, he hasn't shown any bit of that in the last couple. Obviously, that whole field last time got absolutely blown the heck away by Canaletto. But I mean, Take Charge Paula was a sprinter. Long Neck Paula was also a sprinter. So, I mean, Golden Sombrero, even in the maiden and claiming ranks, was a sprinter. Moonlight Bay was mainly a Tapeta sprinter. So, yeah, I mean, 2 turns is the 100% question here, but if you're with this horse, it's Irad and Brad Cox. You're going to take a hit on the money as well, but this is just a straight in Cox I trust angle. I feel like if you're going with this horse,
Yeah, I think this horse is kind of like a one pace kind of like a plotter type, which in this field there's nothing really crazy that stands out outside of I think the Pletcher second time out and the Fancy Gentleman, but I think this one might just be able to stay on late and get a piece of the money, because why would Brad Cox put this horse at this distance with Windstar, and then Irad hops aboard? I mean, the workout tab doesn't scream anything special. The efforts don't scream anything special, but the buyers are okay, and there's a little bit of early pace from this horse that maybe this one could just be forwardly placed on the outside post and just stick on for late.
Yeah, and I mean you hit exactly on the head. What I mentioned was it's kind of just the Cox we trust angle, because there's really, if Cox thought this horse was a sprinter, I mean, you just throw him in another nice main special weight going 6 at Gulfstream. Like, there's plenty of those to run in, but obviously he thinks that this horse can go long and probably will be at least a little bit, maybe second, third choice somewhere in there. Will definitely not be the favorite, just based on running lines, but most likely second choice given the connections involved. In race 8, I'm going 5, 6, 7. Pat's going 5, 3, 7. Andrew's, of course, also going 5, 3, 7. Guys, race 9, which of course is the next race we're going to cover, is an allowance optional 25, going a mile to 16th on the turf. And this one, This is a doozy of a race, let me tell you. It is a field of 11. Most likely morning line favorite goes to the outside horse and the number 11, Meagher Go, the Argentinian bred for Irad and Chad Brown. I'll bring our picks up on the screen right now. You both are going with Meagher Go. However, I'm going with the number 9, Pretty Lavish for Gaffleone and Kent Sweezy as I bring up the DRF on the page right now, of course, which has a ton of good stuff. I've been using DRF for I don't know how long at this point. We've been using on this show for free, and now that we're sponsored by it, I've basically given them free ad reads for the past 3 years without being sponsored. And now that we are sponsored, I always love to bring it up, guys. I really can't use anything else now. Your formulator is the way to go if you guys are these types of past performance readers. Formulator is absolutely the way to go. They have also clocker reports for Gulfstream and Santa Anita every single day they run. So if you guys have been living under a rock and don't know what formulator is, go to drf.com and read up on it yourself. Again, fantastic stuff that they do over there. Andrew, I'm going to let you talk about Pat. Again, jump in whenever you feel necessary. Number 11, Meagher Go.
Yeah, I just think that this horse was brought over to the States with intent to be a graded stakes winner. I mean, over in Argentina, this horse was very good at their levels. And then, whenever Chad gets one of these international shippers to come over to the States, especially when it's a Michael Dove horse, that this horse is here with intent. And this horse ran second in the East Town, or I think that's the East Town.
The Eatontown.
Or yeah. Eatontown, yeah, my bad. At Monmouth, and was an 88 buyer, but then in the Boston Spa, this horse didn't really fire, and then they tried it on the dirt over the winter to get a start into it, probably in prep for the winter meet down here, and nothing happened there either, and the buyers are declining, so it's kind of confusing, but I think that this is a good spot, and I think this is the right spot for this type of horse, and I think this is where you actually get to see how good Meagher Go really is.
Yeah, and I would agree with that statement. What else I'll say is there are a lot of negatives in this situation where I figured I honestly outside post Chad hasn't figured out what he really wants to do with this horse. But at the end of the day, I just think this horse is faster, and I looked through some stuff in the summer, like in those Naira articles in the graded stakes articles, the preview stakes, and I wanted to hear a little bit more about what Chad thought of the horse. And he really did think highly of this horse. He wouldn't just put these horse in graded races, not having this horse, being this horse is from Argentina. So I don't know. I do believe now that we're in the new year, has steady works in him. Irad will be able to kind of see what with that outside draw. Obviously, it's going to be tough on the first turn, but we'll be able to see what kind of path he takes. I'm going to give this horse one more chance. Kind of in Chad, I trust. I do understand all the negatives. Probably going to be the favorite at Gulfstream. We all know Chad doesn't really point to those races, but I did kind of chalk out here, guys. But I will say I'm open to others in here, and I'm hoping it's kind of a more of a wide open board, so I get a kind of a softer favorite in Meagher Go.
So say I don't even need to say anything. You hit on all the negatives why I don't like this horse.
Yeah.
So I don't even need to say anything. You guys know me. I'm really I always try to play against Chad when I can at Gulfstream. If this horse, in my opinion, if this horse really was the goods for Chad, she'd be running at the Hillsborough in 2 weeks on Tampa Bay Derby Day for the grade 2 at 1 1/8. Like this would be the goods for her. But the fact that she's here, I want to play against her in every single way. Obviously, Pat, you hit on it with not only with the post, but she hasn't really run well. I mean, she ran fine in the Eatontown. I wouldn't exactly say she ran that good. I mean, if she was good, she wins that race easily. Obviously, Whiskey Decision has come back to be a really nice horse, along with Ozara, who she ended up beating that day. But there's too many negatives for me to take at this horse at a low price, which is actually why I'm going with Pretty Lavish. And while the 88 hasn't been met by this horse, first time off the layoff for Ken Sweezy, this horse runs a hole in the wind. And I understand that that's against a lot softer competition, but I feel like that was the absolute perfect prep for a horse like this to be able to get into this swing. And even though this really isn't a step up for this horse, I just feel like second off the layoff, Pretty Lavish will be very nicely put in. Race is still for 86,000, so it's exactly the same type of race she was in last time, but still the money's good. gets Gaffleone aboard, who rides the turf very well at Gulfstream. If she can improve off that 80 buyer for the first time, the second time out at 4 years old, I feel like Pretty Lavish has every single chance to win this race. And if she's going to be somewhere like 7-2, I'll take that every single day of the week over someone like Maggie Go is going to be 9-5. And that's kind of my thing. Maybe she's not as good as Maggie Go, but I feel like she's a much better bet at 7-2 than Maggie Go is at 9-5. And that's why I'm going with Pretty Lavish and probably will end up betting Pretty Lavish that way. Andrew, I'll let you round out your top three. Of course, you do have Pretty Lavish in third, so feel free to add in anything you want. But of course, Mystic C, who's a horse for Bill Mott and Junior Alvarado, ran at Tampa Bay last time, getting the meme number buyer. So maybe that's probably the angle you're going with, I assume.
No, I've actually been giving Mystic C a lot of chances. I've been liking this horse since Saratoga. I thought that turf debut all the way back there was a little bit better than it looked on paper. That was a very troubled trip for that horse, the first time out on the turf. And then the horse came back and ran really good right after that, and lost to horses like Ready for Candy, who came back to win multiple more races. And then the Aqueduct race was kind of iffy. Then they gave it time off. But when it came down to Gulfstream, I mean, they wanted to put this horse on turf off the layoff. Didn't. Won on synthetic, which was a good sign that it could still run and win, and proved itself to finally get over that hurdle. But then the Tampa Bay race, I mean, it's a little long. I don't know if a mile and an eighth, it might be just a little bit too long for this horse. I think it's more of a mile 16th horse. Gets a mile and a 16th on Saturday. You get Alvarado and Mott. This horse is probably going to be a 5 to 6 to 1 in range, probably. Yep. Maybe even higher. So I think this horse is to be a good value play underneath. The buyers aren't really there, but I think this horse has a little bit of ability that hasn't been tapped into yet.
I think the biggest thing for her, Pat, is her tacticalness, being able to be a little bit more forward, where horses like Maggie Go, Pretty Lavish will be probably a little bit farther behind this horse. And if she gets the jump, I don't necessarily think she's up to the snuff to those two horses that I mentioned, but if she takes a little bit of a step forward, she's absolutely in the realm of exacta and trifecta range. This horse is actually my first winning bet of the entire Gulfstream Championship meet, which of course started on Thanksgiving, which is at the end of November. It absolutely poured that weekend down here in South Florida, which is obviously why they ran on the Tapeta horse. The race was originally carded for the turf, but if she can get back, maybe run a mid-70s buyer, like I said, I think that's decent enough to at least sneak into your exactas or trifectas.
Yeah, I think the consistency will be there. Don't see why the connections would shy away from that at all. It's just that this is the race I kind of just threw out the 5 that we're covering here, where I did chalk out. I just really couldn't make a case for anybody else, but I do think what all you guys said on Mystic C is accurate. And watching those replays, this horse likes to come from the outside. Does like to kind of find his way in the 3 or 4 path in the stretch. Hopefully the pace sets up for that, or Junior can sit a nice stalking trip in second or third and then make one late run. But that's kind of way the running style of this horse has been throughout his first 6 or 7 races.
The thing. Obviously,
in honor of last night's show, I had to do that after watching last night's show this morning on replay. Oh my gosh!
By the way, great show. By the way, last night from the fellas.
Oh my god, yeah. Episode 6-7 for Pacific Horseplayers. If you know anything about those guys, get ready for it. That's all I have to say. Obviously, Pat, the only other horse we need to talk about, La Cantera, who you have in second. Carlos David, who's had a fantastic, and I mean fantastic, championship meet. 25 from 84. Winning 30%. This is another horse with tactical speed that should be a little bit closer.
Yeah, for sure. I think Jersey Joe Bravo here really needs to get this horse out of the gate and to the lead because this horse is a wire threat, I firmly believe, has set some pretty fast fractions going the mile and done well. A mile and a 16th, run it 3 times, been in the money 2 out of the 3. I don't see why that shouldn't be a problem. Carlos David's numbers have been unreal, as you know, being down there, Kyle. He's been really, really gone really well so far this meet. And I think just looking at 2 of those races, he's been more towards the inside. So get to the rail and hopefully take him most of the way. And I do think that this horse is probably going to be between your 9 and this horse should vie for the second choice.
I would think so. Just based on the speed numbers alone, you're looking at 75, 78, 79. The 9 Pretty Lavish has a couple of 80s in there, but everyone else is kind of also in that low 80s to mid 70s range in this race. So it's very nice competitive race in here. Mile and 16th, also one thing I wanted to point out. Gulfstream is always rough, especially when they run the mile and the 7.5, which we'll talk about here in a second, with that run up to that first turn. But it shouldn't be too big of a deal at the mile and the 16th. There's a pretty good run up to that first turn. But I know as you get shorter with these distances, outside is definitely not where you want to be. In race number 9, I'm going 9, 7, 11. Pat's going 11, 10, 7. Andrew's going 11, 7, 9. Couple guys I want to point out in the chat. James, my friend, Kyle, Patrick, and Andrew going to have you guys on audio. Only have a great show. I'll be listening. James, greatly appreciate your support always for these shows. You're always here, so greatly, again, appreciate it. Jim Pillar is my friend. He says, hey, man, I actually like that the morning lines are not out. Too often, morning line affects how a race is looked at and thus handicapped. I completely agree. And I know, Jim, you keep giving me crap, but really, at the end of the day, I always handicap without morning lines now because I feel that exact same way. It just, if you're looking at it, if you're like, oh, this 10-1 and this 5-2 have the same thing, but obviously there must be something with the 5-2, right? But so I love to just handicap without the morning lines, make my own opinions, then see where the falls where they may. And if I end up with 5-9 to 5s, that's just the way it goes. There's nothing you can do about it, but that's the way it goes. And Chris Couples, to my point, I'm sure about Chad Brown and Pretty Lavish, says bingo. Chris, I always appreciate you watching the shows. Guys, next race is the feature race of the card. It's the Gulfstream Park Sprint Stakes, $125,000 for 6 furlongs for older males. And I'll put the Equibase on the screen right now for race 10. A field of 8, most likely morning favorite to the number 6, Damon's Mound, Junior Alvarado, and Bill Mott. As I put the picks up on the screen right now, Pat and Andrew, you guys are just locked. You might have to play something together. Lockstep for the 3rd race in a row with that aforementioned morning line favorite in Damon's Mound. I'm going with the number 5, Wound Up, a little bit off the beaten path in this race. Of course, Andrew, actually, Pat, Damon's Mound, easily the most likely winner in here and the most likely deserving morning line favorite. Coming back out now for Bill Mott after winning the Sunshine Sprint last time, which is the state bred prep for this race. Obviously, this opens it up now to open company, I believe. Yeah, it opens up to open company, but Damon's Mound, that's not something that Damon's Mound hasn't done before.
Yeah, definitely not. And this has kind of come up. I was hoping this race would be a little bit stronger, considering, Damon's Mound's kind of been throughout time, kind of on that second tier of dirt sprinters, older dirt sprinters, I should say, in the country. But he does run his race every time and has really kind of found his own in the Bill Mott barn, kind of sitting in those high 80s to low 90s buyers. And I just can't help but say this horse can get on the lead and take them the whole way, or can kind of sit right off of it. And I do think that preparation should be perfect for this spot to set himself forward, to keep moving forward. He's thrown in some nice couple works in here. And Junior's going to kind of be able to pick his spot in whichever way he wants to go. And I would honestly argue that he's probably the heaviest favorite or the most likely winner on our sequence, if I had to take a guess, or have to say that.
And which I can easily see and agree with. Obviously, I don't have him on top. However, I still do think he can be argued for the most likely winner of the entire sequence. Andrew, you have him as well. I mentioned the prep, obviously state bred, but did that very, very well. Was obviously favored to 20 cents, 30 cents on the dollar that time, but won the Bold Ruler going back. Has lost again, as Pat mentioned a little bit, but still getting back to this type of thing. Also, a horse for course angle can be had now, where he has been 2 for 2 at Gulfstream Park, of course, in the same race back-to-back years.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at the 2-time Sunshine Sprint champ here. Now he's trying the Gulfstream, Sprint Championship for the first time, which he didn't follow up last year with.
No, right? Yeah, he went on a break.
But that's a good sign, in my opinion, because a good effort like that, this horse doesn't usually, I mean, since 2023 at least, hasn't been able to duplicate a back-to-back win. or a back-to-back good effort in case. Usually it's, he comes back and he's facing a little bit tougher horses, but now he's in a spot where he could go back-to-back. This horse definitely is consistent, and like Pat said, this horse has that versatility of either taking it gate to wire or pressing the potential cheaper speed. The buyers are not, some of these horses have better past buyers that will smoke this horse in other races, but current form, at least, this horse should be the one to beat.
Absolutely is the horse on current form to beat. I'm going with Wound Up. And the thing is, you're 100% right. Past form. I mean, look at the numbers this horse was running back at Santa Anita when he was trained by Liberato Barasio. I mean, 102, 99, 92, 97, 90. If he runs that, this race is basically over. But obviously, God, I said it again, Jim. I'm sorry. He's has not been that type of horse, but lost to Knightsbridge last time, who blew that field out the door. Super Chow was second, beating horse like Play Me a Tune. Play Me a Tune came back to run where that horse loves to run on the synthetic. Ran back to an 87, of course, didn't win. But there's a lot of things to like, I feel like, with this horse, if he can get back to what he's run before. And I know he's 6 years old now, but you go based on time form, guys. Damon's Mound has not been running the biggest time forms. He has the 120, but 110, 114, 116. You have to go back to Saratoga last year when he lost the little knee to find that 120, and the 124 in the Vanderbilt has not run anything too competitive since, and Wound Up's exactly right with him on the last three. And you go back to those Santa Anita races, 121, 116, 119s. He's absolutely in there, and he's going to be at least double the price of this horse, if not more than that. So the only question I have with him is going to be the pace scenario. Obviously, Damon's Mound has him. Time form has them on the lead. So that'll be the question for Wound Up. Does he have the ability to sit? I think Irad's just complete send with this horse, going to try to get out to the front. Has not been on the lead since those races out at Santa Anita. So I feel like they're really going to be, not necessarily, I don't know if they're hell-bent, but they're going to go pretty quick. Damon's Mound, of course, as Pat mentioned, has the versatility to sit back. So Junior Alvarado is not going to want to get into a speed duel with him, especially with Rolando to the outside, who was very fast early in his career. He's kind of lost that type of touch, but Con Compañía as that type of early foot, as well as noted by time form. So interesting pace scenario here, but willing to take at least double, if not triple the price on Wound Up versus a horse like Damon's Mound, especially when Wound Up's not on his game, but still running this kind of same time form US pace figures that Damon's Mound is using. But I don't fault you guys at all for going with a horse like Damon's Mound. Andrew, I'll let you round out your top three, and then Pat, I'll let you round out yours as well. Jack's Promise, Dale Romans for Rajiv Marat, who actually won a very nice race last time, going up a little bit in class, of course, to the Gulfstream Park Sprint Championship, but the numbers absolutely fit.
Yeah,
based off that last race, at least. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Outside of I think this horse just doesn't really like Churchill. But outside of those Churchill races, this horse has pretty good form. A lot of mid 80 buyers and low 90 buyers. Rajiv's been really riding pretty well the last couple weeks. He rode Grande back in his debut, and that horse came back and won. And he's just been really giving good efforts. And then you get this horse to get the good workout back on February 8th and prep for this race. And I just think that this horse is in good form. Really likes the Gulfstream main track dirt surface. And should be a good decent price underneath. I mean, I don't think this horse is going to be close to the favoritism. So a horse that's running a 92 buyer last time out, I mean, career best. Might as well use him underneath when he's in good form.
This is one of those I think kind of inherited the lead last time. This is one of those horses that does close very well, and one of the only ones in this race that closes very well. So Jack's Promise, definitely one to keep in there at a price for sure. And then you have the number 7 in there, Rolando, a horse I kind of mentioned was very, very, very fast early in his career. He's really kind of lost that, but still not necessarily lost the complete spark that this horse has had. Fausto's had a tough start to the championship meet, but Johnny V hops aboard back on when this horse actually won his last race with Johnny V aboard, going straight to the lead. Not sure that he's going to be able to do that this time, but at least might be able to get in there for a little bit of a piece.
The angle I like here with this horse is that it's coming back to Gulfstream for the first time since really his best form. This is a Vekoma horse, which who doesn't love Vekoma horses? They're at least the babies of Vekoma. This horse just went through the ringer when it came to after that little stake at Gulfstream on March 15th. They put this horse at Keeneland, then they take it up to Colonial. They run it at Kentucky Downs and Grade 3 at Keeneland, and then they go to Mahoning Valley for some reason, and then they bring it back to Tampa. And the horses ran its race, but obviously is getting tired and worn out from all the travel. Now it comes back to its home base at Gulfstream, where he's 6 for 6 in the money, and now he probably has a little bit of trouble to get to the lead here, but his best form has been here at Gulfstream. And you get Johnny V back in the iron, who was the only one to win on this horse outside of Gulfstream. I just think that this horse could be sneaky underneath for a barn that's a little bit cold right now, but a jockey that is, the greatest of all time. So might as well, take him underneath.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I always struggle with this horse just because this horse has just lost any bit of of what made this horse really good, was just the complete pace figure. I think he's absolutely a chance to sneak in there underneath for a little bit of a piece. I don't have him in there, but I completely understand why you would. Con Compania, Pat, is the horse that I mentioned earlier as well, one that's going to be vying for that lead, if not getting it. Like I said, I think the 5 is going to be try and be very quick out of the gate, but Con Company is going to keep him company, no pun intended. And then, of course, you have the horse I have on top in third.
Yeah, with Con Company, this horse definitely is going to show a lot of speed. As not as quick early as Damon's Mound, according to time form. But what I do like about this horse is just getting back to a distance that they do appreciate, and has done really well with, especially at Gulfstream, as Andrew did kind of talk about with Rolando. And that's kind of what I'm hoping here, guys. Outside post knows that he's got to go in here, and I do believe that he goes by Bobby, right? Bobby DeBona.
Yeah,
That's
correct.
yeah. I do believe that Bobby has this horse hopefully peaking in this spot, because the Harlan's Holiday, this horse just was all over the map early on, and it was kind of battling with Skippy, who, if I'm watching, when I watched the show earlier, we have a new nickname for somebody in the chat, Skippy, in Chris Couples. So for Skippy Longstocking.
Yeah.
Yeah, watching that race, I just was like, okay, I'm gonna just hopefully hope that race didn't take too much out of Con Compania, and just kind of hope that this horse can get back to what he likes to do in sprinting.
Yeah, I completely agree with that angle. Absolutely. And obviously wound up in third. Not too much to add on him. I talked about him enough, but okay, go for it, please.
No, this is a question for you guys because it's on the top of my head and I cannot figure it out. Who was the dirt sprinter for Fausto Gutierrez that beat Jackie's War? And I don't know the answer, but it's at the tip of my tongue. That battled Jackie's Warrior and beat him on Belmont Day.
Oh man,
ooh,
this could be a chat question too. Of course, he said. In fact, Cox Couple says it does seem that it's going to be a thing. You're definitely going to be called Skippy for probably the rest of time now. At least,
well, if you guys don't know what, you can bring it to the chat because I searched it up. I cannot figure it out for the life of me. So,
no, that's absolutely a good question to bring up in the chat. Who beat Jackie's Warrior?
I'm pretty sure Irad was on the horse that day
because Joel rode Jackie's Warrior, right?
Yeah, because it's on one of those commercials highlights for the breeding of the horse, for the ownership. But I can't.
I'll find it. I'll find it for you, or someone in the chat.
In the Woody Stevens, you said second in the Woody.
It said.
Who was it?
Drain the clock. No,
that's what it is.
That was Safi. That was Safi. That was Safi.
Oh,
I was just looking at second places at Belmont.
No, you're good. Let's so bring that to the chat if anyone knows what Pat's talking about. Let's get it up. But in the Gulfstream Park Sprint, guys, I'm going 5.64. Pat's going 6.85. Andrew's going 6.27. Jim Pilar says it's drain the clock. So that if it's a Safi horse, right size, wrong shape, Pat. But still, that's a good. Still a good
Yeah,
point.
Because the only other really loss that Jackie was worried had was Cody Wish, who
Right.
obviously was not Faso.
Which
But
I knew that. Drain the clock at Gainesway. Yeah, defeating champion Jackie's Warrior. On
Okay, so I'm
2021
thinking of the wrong trainer. You know what horse I'm thinking of, and it has nothing to do with is Latruska.
Yes, that's correct.
Oh,
I
Jesus.
knew you were going there. I thought that's what you thought of, but I wasn't gonna say it. 'Cause,
All right,
Latruska was-
I'll admit it. I was drinking for the USA hockey game. That's my fault, guys.
Heck yeah, dude. The man that sees ghosts, dude. How about that? That's what we like to see. That's Emma. That's like all over Emma's TikTok is Quinn Hughes just staring into nothingness. It's the funniest thing ever.
That was pretty fun.
But yeah, no, it was an absolute good time. I was watching it with a bunch of my buddies. But guys, let's move on to race number 11. And you know, it's the best part of the day. It's everybody's favorite time of the day. We got the $10,000 Tapeta Claimers back in the mix, 1 mile and 70 yards on the Tapeta for older fillies and mares. And these, you know, say what you want about these 10,000 Tapeta guys. They bring a ton of horses that get carded for these. Another full field of 12. Feels like every time we talk about one of these, it's the full field of 12. Morning favorite, be my guest. I'm not guessing at it. I'm putting up our picks on the screen right now. I'm going with the number 5, the Ontario bred, Lois Len. Pat's going with the number 10, 1 of 1 for Luca Panici and Steve Boudou. And Andrew's going with the number 3, you know when you know, for Katie Davis, hopping aboard the Maryland bred. As I'll bring up the Echo Base on the screen right now. Andrew, I'll let you talk first. This is a horse that I was actually interested in a little bit as well, but didn't end up making my top 3. But Katie Davis, last time out riding this horse, has ridden it very well. And I'm going to bring up here in a second. But this horse is coming off a 2-win streak, and a lot of these other horses haven't been in too good a form and are kind of dropping down or trying to find their footing again. Going up to 10, but at Gulfstream Park, between the difference of the two, there's not too much difference other than this horse is just out of condition now.
yeah, I mean, like, look at the you know, the numbers for a small barn like Santoro's. I mean, this guy has his horses running in the best spots right now, and they're running for him. Katie Davis has been riding really good lately. I think last week she had a couple of winners, and it always seems like she's just there at the end, and you don't even realize that she's going to be coming, and then she just wins, and she's usually winning going away. And I feel like this is the type of race where she can kind of get lost in the shuffle, and then she's there at the end, and that's just how she does it. She sneaks around and she gets the winner at the end of the day. Like, she doesn't have to do anything flashy. She just puts her horses in the spots they need to be, and then the horses run for her. And I think in this field where it's very wide open, there's could be 5-6 horses that you could really go after here. That this one might just be the one that is there late at the end, you know. It's the only one that's in good, consistent good form recently. And I'm coming off career best, which is, you know, usually an angle that I like. And the workouts have been okay. I just landed on this one. I think I could have made a case for half the field, but this is the one I settled on.
So I was going to say, you know, you kind of try and pick through hairs with a field like this. Absolutely, you know, when you know, has every chance to win this race. You mentioned about Salvatore Santoro. I mean, 22, but 6 wins, and 3 of those have come at Gulfstream. Or sorry, this is the new year, of course, but 6 of 22, super small barn, but obviously places his horses where he thinks they can win. And if this filly's ready to go, she absolutely has every single chance to win this race in a field that's just another field of meh, which is a lot of what we see in this race. Pat, you're going with the number 10 in this race. Another horse that actually I was basically between the 3 and the 10 to put in the top 3, and I ended up going with yours, Pat, for Steve Boudou, who actually owns this horse as well. This is a 6-year-old mare who's been running at this 10,000 claimer the last couple of times, has ran very well in all 3 starts. Definitely where she deserves to be and wants to be, and can run very well.
Yeah, she likes this level, has run consistently, like you said, Kyle. I'm not going to try and kind of poke holes in other places with other horses. You know, listen, this horse has been bet at this level and been, you know, kind of middling odds. And I thought, you know, has been run more forwardly placed, which we would like Jim Pilar says in the chat. So, listen, I'm probably going to get 3 or 4 to 1, and I'll gladly take that. I would not really put a win bet on any horse in this race. But listen, Luca's been on this horse 2 times, and has run respectable in there. Just kind of did what I've said. It's just been slower races because of the level, but I just don't really know what to make of that. So going through this, understanding that a couple horses improved their buyers in the last race, just kind of let me land on this one. But this is if I'm playing pick 4s and pick 5s, you gotta understand that I am probably gonna have to go 3 or 4 deep on tickets.
Absolutely. I would easily add both of your horses. If I was playing a pick 5, I would add both of your horses, even though I only have one of them in there. I'm going with the number 5, the Marty Drexler horse in this race for Lois Len, a horse that's ran some very, very nice numbers on the lead. And I know there is other speed in here. However, I'm not sure there's enough speed like as fast as her. And there's also not a whole lot of horses that love to pass in this race. Kind of Compass Rises and the 2 horses you have are really the only ones that have passed. Go Amy's the other speed in this race off the claim for Rohan Crichton, who you always have to pay attention to. Irad also takes up that mount here. So absolutely a horse you need to keep an eye on. But Lois Len has won some very nice races, and that optional claiming level at Woodbine going 15 easily laps this type of race in here when the horses are in good form. Marty Drexler claimed this horse for 10. Almost looked like this is he always claims horses at the end of the Woodbine meet to bring to this Gulfstream meet for a race like this. This is the spot it always seems like to add in mind. Even though she's 7 years old, she's still running races that easily best a lot of this field and are right on par with the top of the top. So Lois Len, again, not a win bet for me, Pat, but definitely the one I would be most likely to bet on Saturday. I have the 10 in second. Andrew, you also have the 10 in second, but you also have the 9 in third. In my Midnight Bella off the trainer switch from Tracy Tanner to Bo Chapman, drops in for 10. Definitely where this horse wants to be. This horse is running 12.5s at Hawthorne, and those 12.5s were always pretty competitive. And if she runs those low 70s again, I know she's 9 years old coming off a layoff, but she can still run those 70s. She's easily at least a in the money candidate.
Yeah, and I mean her Tapeta numbers going back a few years, the numbers are very good. I mean, honestly, if she can run her Tapeta numbers back in 2023 and 2022, this horse can win this race. Since leaving Gulfstream, this horse is yet to win in 2 years. So returning back to Gulfstream is a good angle. Get blinkers off. This horse, I don't know the last time this horse had blinkers off. But you get Miguel Vasquez, who I think is the best Tapeta rider down there, in my opinion, and you get a new barn switch, maybe just all the different changes in the return back to, favorable scenery after being down south and then also in the Midwest. This horse might just be able to return to old form and make a run at it. I mean, it's a wide open field.
You know how old this horse is? You saw, I don't know if anyone else caught it, but I saw Gulfstream Park West in the in the PPs there at the bottom. So that's how long this horse has been running. 47 times, 10 wins out of 47. So Midnight Bella is definitely an interesting horse in this race because she can return to those 70s, even to that Tapeta form she showed before. She absolutely has a right to be and win this race. For it. The only other horse I'll bring up in this race, guys, is the number 1. Compass Rises for Angel Rodriguez off the claim from Amador Sanchez. Junior Alvarado hops aboard, who already has 2 wins on this horse. And if the pace does heat up, this is one of the horses I want. I did mention her name before, and really one of the only ones that does like to pass horses in here. This 10,000 claiming level where she's been basically for the last year and a half, but still has run very, very well at it. Irad was aboard last time for Amador Sanchez. Now Angel Rodriguez comes back aboard. Actually, it's a reclaim, which is another angle that I always love to see, especially in these low-level claiming races at Gulfstream. She's 10 for 12 in the money. If she doesn't outright win this thing, I think she's absolutely a really nice horse to include in your exactas and trifectas underneath, because if the pace doesn't heat up, as she always runs her race to get somewhere near the money. And if the pace does heat up, she's one of the most likely candidates to pass horses and finish strong in what is a very tough edition of everybody's favorite time of the week. In race 11, I'm going 5-10-1. Pat's going 10-2-5. Andrew's going 3-10-9. Last race, guys, is actually a very nice race at that. It's a maiden special weight, 84,000, going that weird distance I mentioned earlier of 7.5 furlongs on the turf with outside rails, 52 feet for 3-year-old fillies. It draws a field of 10. They're only allowed to run 10 at the 7.5 because of how close it is to that first turn. 2 also eligibles drawn in at the 11 and the 12. Morning line favorite, be my guest. I couldn't tell you. Either the number 3, Dreaming of Joy for Cox, or probably, actually, it's most likely the number 8, Celebrity Warrior for Marat and Pletcher, as I bring up our picks on the screen right now. Pat, you're going with number 5, Let's Go Barbie for Johnny V and Riley Mott. I'm going with the number 1, Use Me. So is Andrew. Andrew also has Use Me on top. So, Pat, you get the ability to go first. And what'd you like most about the number 5, Let's Go Barbie?
Yeah, I mean, just put up what Skippy said in the chat. That kind of he nailed it on the head. Listen, when going through this race, I did notice that a couple horses, I should say, had races that came off due to weather. It was kind of that one weekend at Gulfstream that kind of made that happen. And listen, watching that replay, this horse, Let's Go Barbie, came well from well out of it in a fast pace. I did like it. That sprint race should appreciate the 2 turns in here. And I really think that we'll be able to kind of evolve into a horse that likes coming from out of it and is able to run on this turf course. I do wonder, what kind of trip it's going to get in here. But I firmly believe was outside and was able to kind of run on with it and stick with it. I did not watch the gallop out. Do we have a good gallop out here? That's a good.
Let's see.
That's a good.
Let us take a look, Mr. Howard Kravitz. Please,
Yeah, right.
Let us see.
I mean, he had all the momentum. Or
Yeah,
she had all the momentum.
She was running very, very well. Take a drink for that, Andrew, by the way.
Yeah, I will.
You'll see she's on the outside. I mean, she gallops out really nicely with the number 1 Black Cherry, the Wathenon runner, who does end up winning this race. Not a Howard Kravitz gallop out angle, but still a nice one. She still gallops out, has a lot of energy, it seems, in the ranks. So maybe a horse I just overlooked. Riley Mott doesn't have the best numbers second time out, but just like his father for that matter. But still a horse that's definitely one to be looked at. Johnny V is back aboard this horse and did close into a race that had a 23.5 second quarter, which you don't see too much in those flat 5 to PITA sprints. So definitely one to keep in mind of not only for Pat, but also Chris Couples and Skippy, my apologies, Skippy and Terry Frank, and Jim Pillar's in the chat. Andrew, you and I are both going with the number 1, Use Me. And let me tell you, this horse is taking money, which I'll talk about why I love her in a second. This horse is probably the only one I'm going to use in this race if this horse takes money. Obviously, we won't be able to see that. So if this horse takes money, it might be the irresponsible wager of the week is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think this is a 2-horse race. I think either Let's Go Barbie really wants the turf, and that first race debut definitely had that turf turn of foot that might just didn't have the type of grab that it needed on the Tapita. But Use Me really bred well. I mean, very well. Starman was a really good horse over in England. Won the July at Ascot, which is a very good sprinting race. It's one of the best sprinting races. If it's not Ascot, it's at Newcastle or Newmarket, but it's one of the two. And I don't know much about this horse's siblings, but if you follow any of my picks for the last however many weeks I've been here, whenever there's a Walsh first-time starter on turf with Tyler Gaffalione aboard, the horse is in my top 3. It's just how it is. These two connect very well together. They're very consistent, and you're getting a horse that's going to be breaking from the rail in a 7.5 furlong turf race, where this horse has breeding to be forwardly placed in sprints. So I think that this one is definitely the one to play, and it might be the one that we might be able to just single at the very back end. Me and you, Kyle. This horse might just be that good if it gets bet down like that.
Yeah, and I think she's going to be at least second choice, if not third choice,
Yeah.
off the top end. I think there's other horses in here that will take money. One of them is an angle that Pat and I'll bring up there in a second. I'm sure Pat already knows what horse I'm trying to reference here. But yeah, there's a lot of negatives that I don't like about other horses. Honestly, Dreaming of Barbie, it might just be, or Dreaming of Barbie, Let's Go Barbie is a horse I might have just so completely overlooked. I probably would have in my top 3 because I really don't like a lot of these other horses in here. I'd probably replace her for the 3 in a heartbeat, to be completely honest with you. And I'll admit it, I'll Joey D. I'll put the hand up on that one. That one's on me. But there's some other horses in here that will take money, and started out with the number 8. I mentioned Celebrity Warrior. This is a horse for Todd that ran. It's still a maiden, one of these Todd Pletcher angles, but ran her in the Salima, lost to Ultimate Love in that race, and ran her in the Juvenile Phillies Turf, which obviously she didn't get bet or run too good that day, but she does have early foot. Second off the layoff from the Breeders' Cup, I feel like will hit this horse between the eyes. Rajiv hops aboard here. And Rapoli hasn't run very many horses here at Gulfstream, if any at all, to be completely honest with you, outside of like big stakes races. So
Yeah.
Celebrity Warrior is definitely one to at least take a look at. I think there's a little bit too much speed in here, maybe to help her. Also, as you get farther and farther to the outside, it gets a lot harder and harder for these horses at that 7.5 distance, which I feel like is a definite thing that needs to be hit on, but she will take some money. Pat, you are going with 2 outside horses in here, and obviously I might just think that you're better than the rest of them. Conciliation for Bill Mott, who has some really nice works on the tab, and Alpenglow for Jose D'Angelo and Jorge Ruiz.
Yeah, I'll start with Conciliation first. Start from the inside out. I just like visually those works. I do wonder about the turf, but those works were very appealing to me, and I'm going to give this horse a chance just because there's others in here that I think are going to be bet and not really worthy of it. So I would definitely watch the board on Conciliation. And then with Alpenglow, listen, this horse showed a lot of speed in her works, and I do believe getting the outside draw is going to be beneficial for her to show that speed. I do wonder how good she is. But Jose D'Angelo has started to come on with it, especially on the turf of late. And the Charlatans have not been bad with the turf looking through the numbers. So, listen, I think this horse has a decent chance to hit the board in here. Hopefully, that draw doesn't bother too much.
Yeah, and obviously, like I said, the 7.5 comes up very, very quick, which is really the only reason I didn't have Alpenglow in there, because I think turf-wise is where she wants to be, especially based off that last work at Palm Meadows. But just again, those outside posts for the 7.5 are just so hard to get on board for me. Although I do have the 8 Celebrity Warrior in the mix as well. Last horse I want to mention, guys, is Dreaming of Joy, and she kind of goes in with Conciliation for me in this race, because I don't think either one of these wants to go on the turf, and let alone 7.5. I feel like they're good for longer and they're good for the dirt. I mean, Dreaming of Julia, guys, which is why I kind of laughed when I was talking about Pat before. Half sister to Mala Thought. Not only that, but Julia Shining, one of the most overbet horses of all time in fat size. Julia Shining, she always ran her race. She ran very well. She was a full, of course, to Malathot. This is only a half, as Dreaming of Joy is Into Mischief, which Into Mischief obviously has better turf numbers than Curlin does, which is one of the reasons why I don't like Conciliation in here. But the breeding's hard to ignore. And again, I would be much more inclined to take someone like Let's Go Barbie over Dreaming of Joy, which is probably how you'll see it on Twitter on Saturday. Again, follow me if you want my full picks for the card at AP Roscoe K on X. And while you're at it, follow all the rest of the boys on Twitter, all on the handles there at the bottom of their webcams. But look, it's hard to ignore when you see those types of breeding angles with Dreaming of Joy, but it's just so interesting that she ends up on the turf here. And Castellano hopping aboard, obviously a fantastic rider in his own right, but not Brad Cox's first, second, third, or fourth choice, really. The fact that Castellano hops aboard doesn't install some confidence in me either. So not really too many negatives in there, but I just feel like dirt is more likely her speed, and with a horse that people are going to see those breeding lines, people are going to see Cox, they're going to bet that horse a lot, and most likely might end up basically on par with the 1. And if that's the case, I'd have the 1 in an absolute heartbeat. Could the 3 win if she takes the turf? Absolutely. Obviously, the talent and the breeding's there. It's just a matter of it's turf what she wants. And in my opinion, I need to at least see one before I'm willing to take a horse like that at short odds. In race number 12, I'm going 1-8-3, and Pat's going 5-10-9, Andrew's going 1-5-7. Guys, moving on to best bets. But of course, before we do, there's a lot of good people in the chat tonight. Thank you so much for all of your chats. We really do appreciate that. And if you guys are enjoying the podcast tonight, go down to the video player and hit the like button. We would greatly appreciate it. It's absolutely free to do and the best way to help out our channel. And it lets us know that you guys are enjoying the content that we're putting out. And I want to answer a Jim Pillar's question after he was giving me crap for about 10 minutes, but it's okay. He said, in all seriousness, Kyle, now that you're in the area, how often do you get to Gulfstream in person? And have you picked up things there being live rather than watching simulcast feeds? I mean, absolutely. And I get to Gulfstream probably about once every 2 weeks. It depends on 1, what I'm doing, but 2, what kind of racing's going on. Like I could go there this weekend. I'm gonna choose to stay home just because I have some other stuff to do. But like next week, Fountain of Youth Day, I'll absolutely be out there. I'll actually be out at Tampa Bay for the first time ever for Tampa Bay Derby Day, which that'll be a really fun time as well. So anyone in the Florida area, if you guys are going to Fountain of Youth Day or going to Tampa Bay Derby Day, and for that matter, if you're going to the NHC, please reach out to me. I'd love to meet you guys, have a beverage, and do whatever. That would be an absolute fun time if we can make that happen. Pat, going to you, my friend. Race 10, a pick 3, 6 over 210, over 510, and starting in race number 10. That's of course singling in the Gulfstream Park Sprint Championship with Damon's Mound, as Pat mentioned, the most likely winner on the entire card, and going with Go Amy and the number 10, who he had on top in 1 of 1 for Steve Badu and Luca Panici, and race 11, the ones we just talked about. That is the number 5 that he liked on top in Let's Go Barbie, and the number 10 in their Alpenglow.
Yeah, I won't. We talked about most of these in depth. Listen, I think Damon's Mound's the most likely winner, so I'm going to try and find some middling prices throughout the last 2 legs of this sequence, and hopefully hit a nice pick 3 to close out the Saturday card at Gulfstream. This was a fun card tonight to cover. Had some nice jokes on it, and see if we can make some money Saturday.
Yeah, and trust me, those probably won't go away. So
yeah, Latruska. I'll remember Latruska.
Latruska, hey, fantastic horse for about 8 months in her own right. Let me tell you, until she fell off the face of the earth, unfortunately. But she's actually her first foal actually just got born in 24, and it's to Curlin. So lots of fun things to look forward to there. Andrew's. See, my young Padawan, my friend, going the Kyle Roscoe 2 win bet way. That's what we like to see. In race number 9, a win on number 11, Maggie Go. That's the Chad Brown horse in that race. In a race 12, a win on number 1, Use Me, who, little spoiler alert, you might see that one on mine as well.
Yeah, I like to target the turf races in these sequences. That's my specialty. So I think Chad Brown is going to have this horse good in the right spot. And then I think Use Me is definitely going to be used, so hopefully the horse is not going to be 8-5, but I hope it's more like 5-2. Yeah,
and for Use Me, I think Maggie Go will probably be more likely to 5 shot than Use Me. But if Use Me 9-5, that probably installs all the confidence in me to take a win bet on that horse like that. But
and shameless plug for Twin Spires, but most likely I'll probably be playing a parlay of these 2 horses.
Yes, there you go. Look at that. Beautiful.
Try to get out get the win pools out of the way and just do a little parlay action.
And to tie in a sponsor. How about that? That's even better, my friend. And funny enough, I'm also targeting the turf races. Of course, we like a different horse in race number 9. I talked about it detail. Pretty lavish, coming second off the layoff for Kent Sweezy and Gaffleone in that race. I really think she has a good chance to win at something like 3-1 or 7-2, trying to beat the favorite that Andrew's going to win bet on with Maggie Go. And Use Me, guys. Again, so many negatives with a lot of other different horses in there. If she's ready and she takes the turf, the inside posts going that 7.5 are absolutely necessary. And the fact that she has the inside of them all only installs more confidence in me. So I'm going to place a irresponsible wager of the week if she's getting bet. And if not, I'll be placing a nice win bet on the number 1, Use Me, in the last. Gentlemen, thank you all so much for joining me, of course, as always. And thank you for joining us out there for what's been another great edition of Bettin and Boozin here on the HHH Racing Podcast. Again, tomorrow is a great preview for Turfway Park on Saturday with their really nice Derby prep card with picks and ponies. Howard, Pete, and Paul will bring that to you guys tomorrow night at Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Of course, if you can't catch it then, you can always watch these podcasts as a replay every single day. And of course, hit that subscribe button because we're going to have a lot more content coming to you guys all the way through to the Kentucky Derby and beyond. For my co-hosts, Patrick Kuenzel and Andrew Rdesinski, this has been your host, Kyle Roscoe, in episode 169 of Bettin and Boozin here on the HHH Racing Podcast, covering the Gulfstream Park Sprint Stakes late pick 5 for February 21st of 2026. And until next time, everybody, crush those bets, win those photos, and stay safe, everyone. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good night.